Hello and welcome to the first of a series of courses on systems change by Ashoka. My name is Florentine Roth and I'm the COO of the Systems Unit at Ashoka's Globalizer, a program focused on helping leading social entrepreneurs and changemakers to increase their social impact in deep, long-lasting and efficient ways. This systems change course is based on the Globalizer's flagship accelerator program. It's a masterclass that has been developed incorporating decades of collective experience, working with almost 4,000 leading social entrepreneurs from across the global Ashoka network. By participating in this course, you will join changemakers from around the globe who are striving to maximize their impact and are searching for their building blocks, tools, and examples that will help them do that. This course is not merely an academic exercise, but a way to help transform systems that hold back equitable development and justice. By joining a growing community of systems change practitioners, you will be part of building a movement that enables others to see the power of this approach while also generating the engagement and support of important stakeholders needed to further strengthen the field. Given the growing complexity we as society are faced with today, the speed and change and the number of problems in the world, Ashoka has recognized the need for there to be more change makers to outpace the problems. Building on a network of global leading social entrepreneurs and our experience pioneering the field of social entrepreneurship, Ashoka is now focused on collaborations that support a world where everyone's a change maker, where all of us have the confidence and support to contribute to the common good, and where leading social entrepreneurs serve as both role models and role makers, unleashing the power of change makers everywhere to help solve a growing array of social problems. And that's what brings me here with you. We want to make sure change makers everywhere have access to tools and information to help them create the change they seek. One of the most important ways to create lasting positive change, as you will see throughout this course, is to focus on transforming systems. Yet doing so is not easy. If you are watching this, you're probably a change maker, a social innovator, or entrepreneur who's concerned about a particular social problem, either because you, your family, or your community have been affected by it, or you have deep empathy for others who experience this problem. Maybe you're just beginning, or perhaps you have been working on this issue for a while. For those of you who have been working on this for some time, you have likely analyzed the problem, you have a vision of how you want to change the situation, and perhaps you have been developing, testing, refining different approaches to fix it. Now, you might be at a stage when you have found an approach that alleviates the problem successfully at a certain scale. Like many social innovators, you might be doing a great job in training 500 or even 5 million young people for employment, or protecting biodiversity on 10 or 10,000 acres of land. But sooner or later, we tend to see a gap between what can be achieved by this direct service and the real scale of the problem we face. It is hard not to become frustrated by this understanding that the direct work, while helpful, in most cases doesn't get us to where we truly want in terms of solving the problem. Through decades of collective experience working with social entrepreneurs, we found that rather than getting frustrated and throwing in the towel, it is important for changemakers to celebrate the experience and the expertise they've accumulated while working on direct service, and to apply them for solving the problem in a more systemic way. For this, it is important to step back, get a bird's-eye perspective on the situation, and acknowledge other stakeholders in the system. This course allows you to do exactly that. For others, perhaps you're just beginning your change-making journey, but you want to make sure that you're planning the most leveraged approach with the greatest potential for impact from the very beginning. Also here, this course will help you to develop those essential building blocks. At Ashoka, we want to avoid a common disease we call quick fixitis, a phenomenon that makes us jump right for the hammer when we see a nail. That is why we follow a systems change approach for a greater chance at large-scale and long-lasting impact. Let's have a look at what this implies. To immerse ourselves in systems thinking in our first module, we establish what systems change is and why it matters. We will then move on to our second module, where we'll explore the first key steps to this process to help us clarify the big problem, the key systemic root causes producing the problem, and the consequences of not solving the problem. In the third module, we will explore the different components of our system and arrive at what a strategic focus could be, honing in on one targeted systems change. These steps make sure that you have clarity on the type of systems change that is needed on the part of the big problem you want to focus on. The targeted systems change and endgame that you define will then be the basis for the rest of the course and the North Star for deciding between your strategic opportunities. It essentially links the ambitious big problem you're trying to fix with a smaller, more achievable, yet highly impactful systems change. Using this targeted systems change and endgame as the goal, we will then focus on building what we call a systems change story in Module 4. This will lay out the different milestones that have to fall into place for the targeted systems change to come about. It's essentially a theory of change for the system, which helps us identify the key leverage points to intervene. After you have a plan laid out of what the system needs in order to shift, you can now, and only now, take a deep dive into your strategy in Module 5 at the various kinds of ways you can achieve your systems change goals. The actions you and your organization can take to intervene in the system. In particular, we will cover delivery and replication of solutions, working with governments, societal platform building, and mindset shifts. And to wrap up your systems change story in Module 6, we focus on the types of partnerships that will help to achieve the change you seek. This completes a systems change strategy to be adjusted over time and eventually to be replicated for different targeted systems changes as you progress. As you will hear throughout, this is not really a linear process, but more of a circular one, where learnings at the end feed adjustments in the earlier parts of the process. The seventh module is called Weaving the Change and will introduce some of the new forms of leadership necessary for systems entrepreneurship. This includes qualities of systems leaders and ways to partner in the ecosystem for greater impact, while also keeping an eye on your well-being. And finally, we close with Module 8 by taking a step back to look at two important topics that will be critical once your strategy is in place: funding and impact measurement for systems change. Throughout, you will be able to see real examples that show how these learnings are applied in other contexts. One of the social entrepreneurs that you will meet is Albina Ruiz. Albina is a world-renowned social entrepreneur from Peru who has worked with others to transform the waste collection system in over 12 countries. Throughout this course, you will hear more about her organization, Ciudad Saludable, and her systems change story, including the elements that were shifted, the groups they brought together, and who became co-creators of this new model, as well as the milestones to achieving the changes they sought. And you will be exposed to tools that will help you to map your own systems change strategy. Now that you know what the content of this course is, here are some of the overall outcomes we hope you walk away with. First, you will know what systems change is and how it can accelerate and deepen your social impact. You will be familiar with a number of systems thinking tools. You will know why inner transformation is important for becoming a systems entrepreneur. And you will learn about the difference between scaling your organization and scaling your impact. There are also a couple of concrete products we hope you will walk away with. You will have practiced using tools to reach a clearly defined systems change goal, a list of milestones that you want to reach in order to achieve that goal, and tools to break these milestones down into concrete projects and initiatives that you can work towards. Also, you will have a set of assumptions that underlie this process. Throughout the course, you will have a worksheet that you can work on to start flexing your systems thinking muscles and begin to formulate your own systems change strategy. You can plug those into your own downloaded strategy deck to then share your strategy with a broader audience in the hopes of building a network of allies for your systems change work. Don't worry if it looks like a lot at first. We have broken these steps into specific pieces of this course, and each module will move us further along this journey. You should not necessarily expect a final and perfect result after just a few weeks of working with this course, but rather see it as a practice of these tools for continued application going forward. Okay, so before we dive in, a few things to keep in mind and some suggestions. Strive for practice, not perfection. This course aims to help you in your strategic thinking. We recommend you use these tools to challenge your perception, try different approaches, experiment, and be courageous. The exercises, just like the strategy development, are always meant to be an iterative process. Trust the process. Based on your experience, we try to find the right balance between stepping back and moving forward. In fact, we believe that one of the key values in Ashoka systems change methodology lies in making this largely academic field as practical as possible for strategy development. So, it should never feel like an academic exercise. Having said that, enjoy this time to take a step back. Many Ashoka Fellows have found such journeys very helpful in creating a space to pause their everyday activities and reflect on the bigger picture and vision. We especially recommend not rushing over the more analytical parts in the beginning. It will be the basis for the rest of the course, and we promise we will get very practical as well. Finally, we invite you to take this as a start of a more collective approach. You can invite into this story creation not just your team, but also your broader circle of stakeholders or partners who are working on a similar social problem to yours to lay the foundation for future collective action. As you go through the course, you will hear from Ashoka colleagues in a number of countries: Malta, Austria, India, Germany, the US, and Italy, who have collaborated to co-create this course and who together have decades of collective experience coaching social entrepreneurs to craft their strategy for systems change, regardless of which sector they are tackling. Thank you for accompanying us on this journey and systems change movement. And now, have fun planning for your systems change.